Hi, Year 7, and welcome to today's lesson on seed dispersal. We're going to start off today's lesson with a 1 to 7 question for you on labeling the different parts of a flower. Now, I know you've done this before, but it's always important to revise and practice. So, can you pause the video, write 1 to 7 down, and then see if you can answer the different parts of a flower correctly. Okay, hopefully you've written 1 to 7 and labeled the different parts of the flower. Let's go through the correct answers now. Number 1 is the carpel. Sorry, I couldn't see that there. Second one is the stamen. Number 3, you should have stigma. 4, you should have the anther. 5, the style. 6, the filament. And 7, you should have got the ovary. So today we're looking at seed dispersal, and main thing to do with seed dispersal is how do they get around? How do seeds actually move? How do they get from where they grow to where they eventually, hopefully, fertilize and then grow in the ground? So we've done this before. We did have a brief look at the anatomy of a seed, but we're going to go into a little bit more detail. So you've got the seed coat. So it's the outside protective layer of the seed. You've got the plumule, which will be the shoot, the hypocotyl, which will be the stem, the radicle will be the root, and the cotyledon, which is the food storage. It's what the seed uses when it implants in the ground in order to grow. Okay, it needs that original energy. So after an ovule is fertilized by pollen grain, it turns into a seed, and then germination is when the seed breaks out of this coat, okay, germinates in the ground. So what I want you to do is follow this link to the video. So you should have downloaded this PowerPoint from Show My Homework. I only want you to watch until 1 minute and 5 seconds, please, and answer the 3 questions. What is it, and why do it? And then can you come up with your own definition of seed dispersal? So pause the video, click over and watch that video, and then come back and we will talk about the answers. So what is seed dispersal? Basically, it is the movement of the seed away from the original plant. That is all seed dispersal is. Okay, it's the movement of the seed or seeds away from the original plant. And why do it? Why do they need to do it? Well, the most important reason is that they need space to grow. If they were to grow right next to their mother plant, they would end up competing for sunlight, for water, and for nutrients in the ground. So rather than competing in a small area, they use seed dispersal to get further away and therefore not compete with their original plant. Okay, so that's why seeds can't grow near their parents. Can you think of a number of ways seeds can be dispersed and then list them in your own book? So this is for you guys to have a think about ways in which seeds get dispersed. Okay, there's a few different ways, but I'm sure you can think of some. Hint, we help plants as well with seed dispersal. How do we do that? Well, watch that video, and this time it was the same video, but then this time watch it right up until the end so that you can add to your answer. So have you added on to your list on ways in which seeds can be dispersed? I'm going to go through the 4 main ways just in the hope that you've got these down, and if not, you can add them down or you can add some information to them. So the first way is fruit. So by growing fruit, what the plant aims to do is either an animal will then come and either take that fruit and then drop it away, in which case the seeds will grow, or the animal will eat it digest that. However, they won't digest the seed because they've got that tough outer coating. It will pass through, and then that feces on the ground is then on the ground. So then that seed can then grow from there. So that is one. The second way is floating. So coconuts actually released into the ocean. They float and they can travel from island to island, floating along. Same thing for rivers, for example, or plants that grow in or near the ocean or the sea. So mangroves, for example, have seed dispersion this way by using water in order to transport their seeds. So this one here, it is an explosion. So this is how the plant actually spreads its seeds, is they'll grow under pressure and under pressure and under pressure, and then they will explode, expelling those seeds. So if you want to have a look at this video. It's incredibly interesting, and yeah, contains all the information you need to know. Last one, you've got wind. So dandelions, for example, are a perfect example of seed dispersal via wind. So in your books, choose one of these seeds: wheat, apple tree, horse chestnut tree, or peas. Draw it in your book. Explain how it is adapted for seed dispersal. So you might actually need to Google this and have a look and see if you can find how they're adapted for seed dispersal. And then if you can, once you've done that, once you've drawn it and explained how it's adapted for seed dispersal, can you then find two more and explain how they are adapted for seed dispersal? Okay, last task for today, unless you want to join the house competition at the end of the lesson, is using only 140 characters. So those are letters, and spaces count as characters. So if you highlight, your Word document counts these, or you can just count them up by hand. Describe what seed dispersal is and the four main ways to do it. So that's your first task. So imagine you're tweeting, basically. And then second task, imagine you're in the clouds and throwing seeds out. Explain what adaptation you would give your seeds so that it reaches the furthest distance in the world. So answer by coating fruits with seeds, water, explosions, and air transport. So winged insects. Okay, we're on to the house point task now. So this is designing a seed. So this is an optional task. You don't have to do this task. However, if you'd like to try and win a house point, the best ones are going to win house points. I'm not going to say how many people from each class because it can vary. But if you do a good job of this and we're happy with what it looks like, and you've done all the different tasks, then you will win a house point for your house if you submit it. So imagine you're a seed and you need to get as far away from your parent plant as possible. You need to design the best seed. So you need to tell me what it will look like, how it will move, where do you want to get to, and what do you want to do when you get there, how will you germinate, and how will you grow. So I've got an example on the next slide. So this is kind of my example of one where I've drawn a seed. I've got why I want to be a seed, what I use for photosynthesis, light and fluffy, designed to trap wind, which will carry my seed a long way. I'll go at least 1 mile because I don't want to compete for water and sunlight. My seed is going to grow into another dandelion plant. To help it germinate, we need warmth and water. To help it grow, it will need light, water, and carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. This is kind of like the marks that you'll use. So the best ones will have all of these dot points on the right for your seed. Okay, if you just want to do a basic one, you'll only have the first 3 or 5 dot points. So remember, the task is you're getting as far away from your parent plant as possible. You're going to need to consider what will look like, how you'll move, where do you want to get to, and what you want to do when you get there, and how you germinate and grow. And those are all the different things that you need to tick off. And when we mark them to give house points out, those are what we will be looking at there. Have fun, get creative, get artistic, maybe even head outside and have a look at some seeds and some plants. There are plenty out there currently. See how they do it. Enjoy yourselves, have fun, and as always, stay safe.